Hi, I'm Melissa.
And I'm Ammiel.
We love video games and movies, and we love talking about them.
So we are hosting a new podcast where every week we choose one video game and one movie to talk about.
We will go through each click and flick from beginning to end and talk about what we like and don't like. And then we will give you a rating based completely on our own opinions and nothing else. Ciao. This episode, we're going to be talking about Phasmaphobia, and it's a good one. It came out in September of 2020, and when it first released, the biggest hype about this game was that it was made by one man. And I remember when it came out, we were all obsessed with it. And we were obsessed with the fact that it was just one guy that made this game. His name is Daniel Knight. And he sold it. It was technically by Kinetic Games was the name of the company. And he couldn't do it anymore because it needed a lot of updates. So he ended up kind of like asking for somebody to buy it because that's a lot for one person. But it's an indie horror game, and it came out on Windows. And the gist of it is that it's just this ghost hunting single or multiplayer 4-player game simulation, I should say. And
Stimulation.
Just kidding. I did not get stimulated from this game.
Just kidding.
Well, would it count if I was like peeing my pants and shitting myself because of how scared I was? Because that happened.
It stimulated something.
Exactly.
I don't even know what that means.
So I stand corrected.
I'm sorry. I don't know what that means. I don't know what I'm
That's okay. No, I enjoy. And so I'm going to kind of walk you through, because it is a situational based game, I'm going to walk you through I guess
like
around
a scenario. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you get to pick your character, and female or male, and you set up in this lobby, and this lobby is this dingy, dark, horrible like garage somewhere, and it's nighttime. There's a little basketball hoop in the back. You can throw some balls and make some hoops, and
like
you
a
have
mini
a little
game
counter. Mm-hmm. And the mini game, basically, we found out on Halloween for one of the updates was when you got to 666, lightning happened in the background. It was nuts, and it was very showy and very like spooky and scary. It was really cool. But anyway, you start off with your group, and then when you're ready to start, you get to pick a house, whether that be a single story, 2-story house. They have an asylum and a school, so a big school.
Okay.
So that's kind of ranging in difficulty. Obviously, the school and asylum are harder. But once you pick your house or place to go, you all pile into this van, and you're in the back of this van with a lot of utility stuff on the wall. Mm-hmm. There's little like shelves you can pick up all your tools and stuff, and
like
then there's
typical a little ghost hunter team equipment
hub. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
And you start off by kind of looking at this whiteboard, and the whiteboard has everything listing down from the ghost's name, what objectives you're looking to complete, like looking for dirty water or whatever, just extra bonus points. And it kind of gives you an inside idea of whether or not the ghost likes to be alone, or if it like responds well if you're alone in a room. And it's a great little like selection of stuff. And then if you turn around, there's a little computer that you can see all of the cameras in the house or building of. So you can see where players are, and you can transfer through it. Mm-hmm. And you can toggle on and off night vision, which is cool.
Okay.
So you pick up all your utensils and things that you're going to need to go into the house. And across the way from your utilities, you have a screen of your sanity and also the map of the house. So you have to locate like the light box or the electrical panel so you can turn the lights on. Mm. And the sanity comes into play because obviously the longer you're in the dark or near a ghost, it goes down. The less sanity you have, the worse it is for you. And so your selection of tools ranges from like a spirit box where you can talk to the spirit and they can talk back to you, a thermometer, UV light, like a whole arsenal.
When you're
stuff.
Playing on your computer, you talk like into your microphone and it hears you.
Hence, which is why they give you the ghost name, because when you go into the house and you're speaking into your microphone saying the ghost name, that angers the ghost and or scares it, depending on the ghost type.
Right. It'll agitate it somehow.
Right. And so when you enter the house, everything kind of has an ambient noise in your headphones. Like it's kind of just like outside noise, footsteps and stuff. When you get into the house, it's like walking into almost like a sensory deprived room, but amplified. It's crazy. There's a huge like noise difference from the inside to outside. And you have a flashlight and your goal is to locate the ghost's room and or kind of in and around the area of where it is. And to do so, you have to use your tools like the spirit box and all kinds of stuff, the EMF reader. And once you kind of get a general idea of where the ghost is, you can plant like a video camera to look for ghost orbs back in the van. And if a room is cold, you'll be able to just get the feel of whether or not it's freezing, and that could be a good indication that the ghost is in that room, etc. Now, the scary part to me is, one, they have so many ghosts, so many different types. And when you anger the ghost enough or have a low enough sanity, they trigger a hunt. That's when it gets scary. I mean, there are like bits and pieces. Yep. And like they do occasional things here and there, like they'll throw stuff off the walls, they'll make running footsteps, like noises behind you. It is bone chilling. I've never played a game that's that scary to me. But yeah, when the ghost hunts, that basically means they lock all the doors to the outside. You can't get out. So you have to go and hide. And hiding could mean going in a closet, going into a different room.
So you're basically like run away from the ghost so they can't see where you're hiding?
So they can't see you and they won't kill you. And it's graphic. The ghosts, they don't like slowly appear. When they start hunting, your flashlight flickers on and off. The lights in the house flicker on and off. And I'm getting chills thinking about it. And and when the ghost appears, it could be a woman, it could be a child. One of the ghosts looks like the girl from The Ring, but she's army crawling and like spider running. Oh my
like a God. Grudge Ring hybrid ghost.
Yep, her hair's like in front of her face. Ugh.
Did they look like spirits? Like, I guess, okay, so I saw one like walk through that. It looked like just like a little dark, like shadowy thing ghost. Do they all look like that, or do they appear in different? Do I make sense?
Yes, absolutely. They have different forms. Like I said, like they'll have like an old lady, or they'll have like a big burly man with like a freaking sickle. It's creepy. And now, mind you, the animation's not the best, but it's like it's scary enough to freak you out. So it's they run at you, and then just to give you premise, once you are captured by the ghost, you hear this bone crackling, like, and then exactly what I was doing, hands just coming in front of your face.
Oh, gosh.
And it kills you.
It kills you.
I remember playing the game one time, roughly when it first came out, and Keith had to be out of town one night. And God. I was doing it alone, okay? And we have Alexa lights, okay? Alexa lights means that Keith has an app on his phone to change the lights.
Spooky.
Alexa, stop.
Ghosts.
Anyway,
just kidding.
Ghosts. So in the middle of me playing the game, he turned the lights off without me knowing, and I maybe peed my pants. Maybe I'm not gonna disclose that information.
That was the stimulation we were talking about earlier.
Exactly. Hey, but
the ghost.
It's a terrifying game, and for one man to come up with everything, obviously it was buggy, and there were things about it that could very well be fixed. But it's an amazing horror game for what it does, and it's replayable. You can play it multiple times and still get a different outcome each time. It's great. I'm sweating thinking about it. Oh boy. I kind of want to play it.
So what happens after you die?
So after you die, the goal is to stay alive. But after you die, you become a ghost. And what's cool is the game does change. So the walls and the floor all kind of turn into this dream sequence of kind of what you would see in the movies. Everything's kind of blue and foggy. It's really cool. But all you get to do when you're dead is walk around and throw stuff at your teammates and watch the ghost hunt them.
Wow.
It's creepy. But
does the ghost does the ghost look more real after you're dead?
No, I wish.
It still looks ghosty.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a ghost?
In real life?
Yeah.
No. I wish. I want to believe in supernatural so hard, but I've never had anything really happen to me to let me believe it, But I want to believe they're there. I want to believe an entity or a spirit or an energy is around me that was once a living person. I want to know that and feel it.
I seen a ghost one time at the Riverside Hotel in Laughlin. Supposedly that's haunted anyway, but I was there for my sister's wedding, and it was 5 a.m, and I saw a ghost in our hotel room, and I found out years and years later that my little sister also woke up and saw her, and we never told each other
talked about it,
the stories. Yeah. And we saw the exact same thing.
That is
and we didn't talk about it till we were adults. Yeah, I just barely realized that my sister said she woke up and saw the same thing. Yeah.
Oh my god, there's a ghost in my apartment. I feel it.
Oh.
That's insane.
But it wasn't scary, and she didn't seem like a mean ghost. She seemed like a nice one, so
yeah. So it was a good experience, you would say. Or
at least neutral. She was just doing her job, I think.
Yes. Hi, Momo. Moana wanted to come say hi. But yeah, if the goal of the game is to find out what kind of ghost you're dealing with, and there's an extensive list of types of ghosts, but you have a journal and you jot down the clues, basically what you find to be evidence. And once you jot down those clues, it gives you the option of what ghost you're seeing. And then you have to have that ghost selected when you get back into the van and say, okay, I'm done. I'm ready to go back. And then it reviews your journal, and if you got it right, you get money to buy more supplies and all that good jazz. So it is rewarding, but the minute you find out the ghost, you run away. You run back to the van. You're like, bye. No more. Thanks. Bye.
How do you win?
That's basically it. You try to find as much evidence as you can and get all 3 evidence clues. And then once you get those, you put the ghost in the journal and then you skedaddle. You get in that van and you push that button and you're like, bye. Like, and then if you get the ghost right, that's basically you won the round, I guess, if you want to call it that. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I would rate this game. I'd say it's a solid 6 out of 10.
Okay.
And reason being, no shame to the creator, because he did an amazing job. But it's really, like, can tell it was kind of made by one person, but it's visually, it's pretty great. It's buggy. Sometimes the evidence doesn't always come through all the way, so you don't get that third piece. And sometimes the tools don't always work, so it's buggy, but 6 out of 10 is purely for the enjoyment and the scare factor, because it's scary, it's fun, it's hilarious playing with other people. It's a good time.
Do you ever play it on the VR?
I played it once, and I will never do it again.
That seems so crazy, like ridiculous now.
It is horrible, but I also get very terrible motion sickness being in the VR regardless. So I squatted down and I was like, I don't want to see the ghost. I don't want to look. I don't want to even see. So that's what I did. I just cowered in the corner. But Keith says it's great. He loves playing it in the VR, and I think it's great.
Okay, so I have like kind of a fun fact before I get into rating the video game. So the theater where Melissa and I met and used to do shows at a lot had a team of ghost hunters go to the theater, and they did this and like hunted all night and stayed, and they came out with the report. And I don't know if you've ever read it.
No.
But there's like a report. If you go in the office of the theater, they have it like the paper still from the ghost hunters, and it tells you like 14 different ghosts that were there or something crazy. Maybe that's too many. Maybe it was like 6 or 7.
Yeah,
but there was like
still a lot. They're
saying there's like a cowboy in the light booth. There's like an actor who came with some sets, apparently, that was like a Shakespearean actor that like is still. Oh, his name is Francisco, and he lives backstage.
That's
I'm apparently gonna have there are like ghosts there from like the Mexican Revolution, from like battles that were fought in that area. Yeah, it's kind of like there's a lot, and there's like a whole report. So this whole game reminds me of like those types, because also you see like those shows on. They used to have those shows a lot on TLC, the Ghost Hunter shows. Yeah. So those are like the types of things that
that like blows my mind. I mean, I knew that the theater was haunted. I knew, well, okay, when I say haunted, I just mean occupied by ghosts.
Yeah, but and everyone talks about it when you're there, right? Like, everyone is like, oh, there's a ghost here, there's a ghost there, but because it's so, I want to say, like, old wives' tale-ish, kind of, it's, like, so supernatural when you're an actor or when you're involved in theater. Everyone's just talking and making up stories that it's, like, there are a lot of ghost stories that they tell in the theater that, like, aren't true, and then there were, like, those that were true. And I guess there was also a girl who was like, oh, what about the little boy in the theater? Did you guys see them? And they were like, oh, yeah, but he's not with the theater. He's your ghost. To, like, one of the girls who was helping run the theater. That kind of stuff creeps me out.
If I got told that, I don't know what I would do with that information. I don't know how I would handle life after that.
Yeah. It would be spooky. But apparently the person was like, yeah, this little boy, like, sees you, like, as a mother figure. He's, like, following you. Yeah, something like that.
Oh my god. I need to, like, read the, yeah, absolutely. I need to read what it said, because that's super interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
No.
But I want to say, too, going off of that, as much as I love, like, paranormal stuff in real life, and I'm super interested and intrigued by things, like, happen in real life. Like, for instance, the whole idea of, like, oh gosh, I can't even think of the name of the house in San Jose where the girl, like, kept building and building because her husband was, like, the gun maker, and everyone who died... I can't think of the name of the guy. Do you know what I'm talking about?
It's a huge mansion, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's, like, halls that lead to just nowhere walls. Yes. And there's, like, staircases leading to nowhere, and there's, like, doors that open to, like, nothing. Yep. And she basically was haunted by all these ghosts that kept telling her to keep building and kept giving her, like...
Oh my god, yes. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Instructions on how to...
I just don't remember the name.
I can't remember either. It starts with a W. I'm going to feel dumb when I hear it again because I've seen so many documentaries about it, but I just can't think of it right now.
I do have to say that the Winchester Mystery House.
Yes, Winchester. Mm-hmm. I wanted to say Winchester, but I also
because you said the guy that makes guns.
But I also was getting it mixed up with Worcestershire, and I didn't want it to come out like Winchester or something.
Winchestershire.
Winchester. But
that's fair.
Wait, what is it again?
Winchester Mystery.
Winchester, yeah. So real life ghost stories I think are super interesting and really fun because I think that they're like, I don't know. And so this like setup I think is more interesting, but I still feel like I probably am just not going to ever get into it because I'm just not that into horror. Like it has to be like documentary for me to enjoy horror.
I get that.
So I'm going to rate it based on the chance that I'm going to play this game. That's going to be a 0 out of 10. Maybe a 1. Maybe a 1. Maybe a 1 out of 10, but I just don't see myself playing this game. Like, I just don't see myself getting into it. I'm not a horror person.
Your rating
I'm a horror
is
person,
completely
not a
valid.
horror person.
I'm a horror person as well.
Just kidding.
What I was going to say was, is the genre of horror and being in the film industry, I think is just so oversaturated too. So there's like you said, there's a lot of really bad movies like Tire.
Yeah.
I think it's called Tire or something like that.
Wait, I know what you're talking about, where it's like a tire that kills people.
Oh, rubber. It's rubber. It's rubber. That's what it is. But it's like, like, were these people serious? No one will ever know. I highly doubt it, but like, it's very oversaturated there's so many scenarios of horror that like, it's such a broad spectrum.
There's also another like really cheesy horror movie that's based in Hesperia.
Oh my god, I've seen it.
What's it called? Is it called Hysteria or something?
Is it? I don't remember. That sounds right.
I've always been curious about it.
Let's see. I don't remember what it was called. No. That concludes the click for the night. So, over to you, Ammiel.
Dun, 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 dun. Time for the flick.
I'm ready.
So, this week's flick was Disney's Luca!
Yay!
Bella, where the hell have you been, Luca? I'm sorry.
That is literally the the best TikTok. Well, okay, wow, movie to ever quote. Like that quote alone.
So we start off under the sea, or do we? Or we start off? Well,
no, it's
maybe
under
it's
the
like
sea.
on the boat. Yeah. So
yeah.
So Luca lives in a world under the sea with his mom and dad and his grandma, and he's like a little fish shepherd boy.
Yeah.
He is a sea monster, and the sea monsters are afraid of the humans, and the humans are afraid of the sea monsters. So his parents and their rules of the house, like it goes without saying, it's like you don't go to the surface. It's the same as Little Mermaid, where it's just like you don't go to the surface. You stay underwater. It's forbidden.
Mm-hmm.
And likewise, humans are afraid of sea monsters. And so if they are out like on a boat or something and they see something in the water, they're like, oh no, a sea monster. And try to kill it or something, you know. Because fear can make us do some really scary things. But Luca is kind of adventurous. He's kind of that wandering soul, and he's not satisfied just staying as a shepherd. So he wanders around, and he eventually goes to the surface and meets Alberto, his friend, who is a little bit more like cocky, confident. What's another word for like?
He's sure of himself.
He's very sure of himself, but it's an act. You can tell that it's an act, kind of, because he's like,
I made the comparison that he's like Scuttle from Little Mermaid. He's like, here's a who's it, what's it, and he's kind of like that.
He's so sure of himself, because he doesn't want to be wrong, but he like is explaining to Luca all of the stuff, all of these like human things. So like a dingle hopper or whatever, you know, like what,
exactly.
So after he meets Alberto, he goes back home, and he like can't escape the thought from his head. Like he can't stop thinking about the surface and going back and
daydreaming.
Yeah, he's just daydreaming about going again, because he went there and he realized that sea monsters can live above the surface. Their bodies turn into human looking bodies, and so they can survive, they can breathe air. So he goes back up and meets Alberto again, and he decides to spend a little bit more time there. And he goes with Alberto to his little house, and he sees all his things. And they start daydreaming about getting a Vespa.
My dream. Literally, I just want to own a moped or a Vespa, and I'm good.
I just want to own a Vespa and ride on the Italian countryside. Is that too much to ask for?
No, it's not. I want it.
So they end up trying to like makeshift a Vespa together with a bunch of scrap wood and metal that Alberto has gathered throughout his time
and they did a great job on Earth, on land.
And they did a good job. Like, they got those wheels on. They were falling apart, but, you know, they had, like, that nice moment of building friendship and, like, excitement and, you know, building their bond. They're so cute.
I know.
But he ends up accidentally falling asleep on land. And when he wakes up, it's the middle of the night, and he's like, "Oh crap! I'm gonna be caught for sure." He tries to sneak back home, but his parents catch him, and they basically find out that he's been going to the surface, and so he's in big trouble, and they try to send him away with his uncle to live in the deep part of the ocean. His uncle's like an anglerfish who looks so scary. Like, scary in an uncomfortable way, not really scary in like a phasmophobia way. Just the kind of scary that's like, I do not want to sit next to that guy on the subway. Mm-hmm. I would like to actually not have him in my life at all.
He's got a, like, complex about him that he's like, I don't care about my you know, what I'm projecting to people. I don't care how I'm perceived kind of feel. Yeah.
But also in the sense that it's like, because you don't know what's going on in his brain, you don't know what, like, he could do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or, like, what he's capable of, even. Mm-hmm. That's the impression I got. I was like, I would not send my child away with that man. Yeah.
No, thank you.
So, Luca's like, hell no, this is not happening. I am leaving this. I'm getting the fuck out of here, and I'm going back to chill with my friend Alberto, and I am not gonna stay in this family.
What does his mom say? She says some outlandish shit, and it made me fly off a wall. What'd she say? She was like, I don't remember if she was trying to get him back, like, from coming. And she said something.
She was like, no. But she was like, if I can't, she was like, the surface is dangerous, and if I have to send you to the bottom of the ocean to keep you from going there, then I will, or something. Is that what you're talking about,
it just floored me. Like, I was like,
the mom in that scene is really like, I don't know if that's like the word. I can't remember if that's like the worst thing she says, but she definitely had some lines that I was like, oh my god. Like, tough. That's my Rudolph, by the way.
It is. Oh,
our favorite.
The queen.
The queen. The empress.
Oh my god. I love her.
Yes, so. Yeah, we love my Rudolph. Yeah, and that scene was really hard to watch.
It was, yeah.
So he runs away, and he and Alberto decide to go, and leave the small island that Alberto was living on, and they go to the city, which is across the bay, and they decide to try and make a life for themselves there. The only trick is that they can't get wet, or else they'll be discovered.
And there was a flyer for the Vespa, like a brand new shiny Vespa that they would win if they did. Excuse me, if they won the contest or the game that they need to play.
Right. So they have this idea that if they win the contest, they can get this Vespa. I think they saw the poster of the Vespa, but the contest had, like, prize money, so they would have to go buy, like, a cheap one, but they were still like, oh, wow, look at how beautiful it is, even though it was all rusty and stuff.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was my bad. I thought it was a flyer of a Vespa that they could win. That's funny.
But they have the poster of the Vespa as they're dreaming and, like, daydreaming to go to the city. So, when they get there, they first see the bad guy, Ercole, who is this, like, he's probably, like, 27.
Yeah.
Right? And he's, like, still hanging out with 16-year-olds.
He's trying to, like, slam dunk on kids.
His two little, like, henchmen kids are, like, his, like, friends are both, like, 16 or something. Like, it's so lame and awkward. And he just has this, like, power trip where he's like, I'm the best. But he has, like, a mustache, and you can tell that he's not a kid. And he's, like, he never, like, wants to say what his real age is.
Right.
he just likes being, like, mean to everyone. And he has this shiny Vespa, and he tries to start, like, dunking Luca into the fountain because Luca almost accidentally kicks a soccer ball into his Vespa. But as he's doing that, so Luca's cover's about to be blown, and he gets saved by another girl in town named Julia, and she ends up being such a good friend. I love her. She's so sweet. She looks like you.
Ah, thank you. That's such a good compliment.
Her curly hair reminded me of you.
I adore her character. Oh,
she's like, when I was a little girl, that's the character that I would be, like, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, that, like, tomboy, like, tough girl that's, like, doesn't want anyone to see that she has any emotions. That was me.
she's such a relatable character. Yeah, she is. Oh, yeah.
I love her. So she ends up becoming friends with Luca and Alberto because she saves them, and then she starts... The three of them decide to become a team for the race. And train together. And the race is like a 3-part triathlon. And I don't know if this is racist, but they say that it's a traditional Italian one, which is swimming, bike riding, and eating pasta.
I don't know.
I don't know if that's real or if they're just making a joke about Italy. Italians.
Somebody tell us. Somebody tell us.
Comment below if that's racism or if it's just, if it's real. If eating pasta is really one of their athletic sports.
Right.
I'm part Italian, so I'm allowed to ask.
Fair.
So the plan is that Luca is going to bike ride, Juliet will swim, and Alberto will eat because they, neither Luca or Alberto, they don't know how to swim, apparently, according to them, to Julia. They tell her, we can't swim. So she's like, okay, I'll swim. So they start training and stuff. Julia lets them come home and eat dinner at her house, and their dad is, her dad made them these, like, pesto and noodles, and they both just are, like, gobbling it up, like, the food is so good with their hands. That seems so cute. Mm-hmm. And I could just feel, like, for myself, if I made dinner and had guests over that started eating it that enthusiastically,
it'd be so satisfying. You'd be like,
I would feel so good. I would be like, oh, yeah, baby.
Oh, I love her dad.
I would have a confidence boost for like a week. I'd be walking around with my nose in the air, like, oh yeah,
soar off of those feelings.
Yeah,
so cute.
So this part of the film is actually really sweet to me in another way because the whole thing is basically about how these two boys are different and they don't really fit in with society if they were their true selves.
Right.
But in this moment, Alberto kind of has a little bit of a bonding moment with Julia's dad because he asks what happened. Because he notices that Julia's dad only has one arm. And he's like, what happened? And his dad's all, a sea monster bit it off or something. And he's like, no, I'm just kidding. I was born this way. He said, I came into the world like this. And it's like,
I was so crying. I swear to God.
I know, I'm gonna cry too. I cried after I watched this movie, or during this movie. But the fact that he sees, like, Alberto sees now that Julia's dad is also different and doesn't fit in a way. He has that, like, sense about him, and I think that helps him be, like, a little bit more comfortable. And they end up really bonding, and as you see, like, them all training, Alberto ends up really bonding with Julia's dad. Which is really sweet because we don't really know where Alberto's dad is. He says in the beginning that he lives in that house with his dad, but that's like obviously a lie because number one, it's a Disney movie, so he doesn't live with his dad, and number two,
right,
like he's been there alone. Obviously, he's like a kid with a bunch of junk. There's no adult that lives there. So even though he says to Luca, "I live here with my dad," we know he's not there. So it's sweet when we see him starting to create this bond with another father figure, you know. As they're training, though, and even though Alberto is forming this bond with the dad, Julia and Luca, their bond is forming because Julia has a lot of books from school. She only stays in that town with her dad over the summer, and she goes back into the city during the week or during the school year and stays with her mom. And so she has all her school books, and she is sharing all of these things with Luca, and he's like learning about space and planets, and he's really excited and really loves it. But Alberto is really jealous because he's threatened that he's going to be seen as, you know, like he doesn't know what he's talking about, and like he isn't needed around, like people have already left him. So he starts freaking out, and he thinks he's going to lose Luca. He gets really jealous, and there's a scene where he ends up trying to expose them, and he jumps in the water to show that he's a sea monster. And Luca basically just it's so sad. He betrays him. He's like, he like pretends like, oh no, it's sea monster, and gets all scared and grabs Julia and is like, we got to get out of here. And Alberto is just like they have this secret together, and he now is like the only one. Oh, so sad.
I mean, the amount of like kids, I mean, anybody you know has probably been through a situation like that where they've been the outcast and they're pitted against other people, and the other people absolutely shut the door and walk away. Like everybody, including us too, have gone through something like that. And it's that when he looks at Julia, when Luca looks at Julia, and she's like, or he realizes like, oh my God, she knows that he's a sea monster. He's like, oh, monster. And I get chills thinking about it. Oh, whew, man, that's rough.
Yeah.
Luckily, it resolves in a better way, which is nice. But whew.
So they end up going back, and Julia is like kind of suspicious of Luca now because of everything that happened, and she ends up like throwing water on him to test, and she sees that his hands like turn scaly and stuff, and she's like, "You have to leave. Like they're gonna kill you if you stay here." Blah blah blah.
My dad is a fisherman, or he's a monster hunter.
Yeah, my dad hunts sea monsters. You gotta go. So he ends up going, but staying in town to compete in the race still because he wants to win the money. He feels so bad about Alberto that he wants to win the money for them to get the Vespa. He goes back to get Alberto in their little house that they met at first, and that's where Alberto confesses that he doesn't live with his dad anymore because his dad told him that he was old enough to be on his own, and he left him. And that's so sad to me. Like, yeah, he knows that his dad is out there somewhere, just doesn't care about him.
Yeah.
And how many times is that the case with
anyone? I mean, could be your grandma, it could be anybody, but the minute they shut down and they say, okay, you're on your own, like that, it's
especially to be a child and to be told that by like the one person that you rely on to survive, like your father. So sad.
No kid and no human being should ever feel that scenario ever.
So Luca goes back and does the race, but Alberto's still kind of like hurt by him, you know, so he doesn't go. But in order to do the swimming, he puts on this big scuba suit that's like 1,000,000 pounds and just walks along the bottom of the ocean so that he can stay hidden. Yeah, so now he's doing the race alone, so he has to improvise. He goes and eats all the pasta. He has to learn how to use a fork during the contest. Julia shows him.
That's right. He's competing right next to her.
Yeah. And Julia's whole motivation for competing is to take down Ercole because he is this tyrant who wins every year and he treats everyone horribly and everyone lets him do it because they're afraid of him. And she's like the only one in town who stands up to him, but she gets like beaten up for it a lot, like bullied and stuff for it from him. So other people don't want to, even though no one really likes him. They'll just give him what he wants. But during the race, they're all kind of against him because they're all now on their own teams, obviously. So as they're racing against him, it starts raining now. And they're riding their bikes down, and Luca has to pull over underneath like an awning so that he doesn't get wet because he can't be seen. And Ercole comes up and is like taunting him and stuff and is like, oh, you're going to let a little rain bother you and blah, blah, blah. But as he's going, Alberto starts like coming from the distance and he has an umbrella to bring to Luca so he can keep racing. And as he's going though, he trips and drops the umbrella and gets soaking wet in front of everybody and turns into a sea monster there in the middle of like the track. And everybody sees him and starts freaking out. So Luca is like, okay, no, I have to save my friend. And he rides his bike out into the water with no umbrella or nothing to protect him, to reveal his true self. He grabs his friend and then they're like, let's go to the water. So they're racing down to the water. And as they're going, Ercole is trying to, like, is he trying to harpoon them?
I think
on his bike while they're racing. So Julia, like, runs into his bike so that he falls over, and she falls over too. She, like, sacrifices herself to stop him. And they finish the race, like, kind of on accident, because as soon as they see her, they, like, stopped to turn around, but right where they stopped was right past the finish line. So they technically then won the race, go back and help Julia up, and her dad comes out and everyone's like, oh, what's going to happen? Yeah. And he says, okay, you know what? These boys, they won. They're the winners. And he just does, like, in that one moment, shows that he's accepting of them for who they are. And Luca's parents come up because they've been on land looking for them. And they run up and they take off their hats and stuff. So they're now revealed as sea monsters. And everyone's like, wow, they're real people. And then you start seeing people in town moving their umbrellas and stuff. And you see that there are sea monsters, like, living among them.
Yes.
And it's like the things that we think like, are so different and so alienating. Yeah, there's actually more of us than you think.
And if I'm not mistaken, at the end, when they are revealed, the only person freaking out about it, like scared, like I need to kill him, is Ercole. Like, that was it. Everybody else was just like, what's gonna happen? They weren't freaking out. They weren't screaming. They weren't running. Yeah. Everybody was just watching. And it was captivating. I don't know why it hit me so hard. I think just because you expect in every movie for there to be such a recoil from it that you expect everybody to run around and freak out. But they didn't. They just, like, were like, yeah, they're just sea monsters. Yeah. And they walk among us, apparently. Like, cool. Like, okay. Yeah. Oh, it was great. And,
like, just the whole having a secret that society won't accept you know, and then once you are able to freely live as your true self, then you start seeing the other people in your community who are then either inspired to live their true selves, or they are the same as you and you didn't realize because everyone was living in secret, you know? And that's what this movie this is what this movie is about. And at the end, they're all on land, and the grandma is there, and the mom is like, "What are you doing here?" She's like, "Oh, I come up all the time. I hear it every weekend," or whatever. But she says to them, you know, some people will never accept you for who you are, but some people will, you know, and you just have to find the good ones. She said, it looks like Luca has a skill for finding the good ones. So it's like, you know, so he ends up there, and summer's over, so Julia's going back to school, and he wanted to go back to school, but they can't afford a ticket to send him. So Alberto ends up selling his Vespa that they won with the prize money from the race, and he buys him a ticket to send him to school. And so he got to go off to school, and Alberto stayed with Julia's dad to help him with his fishing. And he ends up getting a father, and Julia's dad gets company for the year, a son, while his daughter's away.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just a really sweet, heartfelt movie about being okay with being yourself and about not judging people who are different from you. Which is kind of typical messaging for kids' movies, but I think especially in today's world, there's so much that so many people don't understand that about they like to be judgmental of. You know?
It's foreign to them, so they consider it strange and unusual. But breaking those social norms is such a beautiful thing.
And we have to see that just because something is different, it doesn't mean it's evil and it's not out to get us.
I think the movie was just like, it hit all the points for me. It was a beautiful Disney movie. The ending was very unique and wonderful. And I love that there were relatively three main characters. Like, Luca's the main one, but like the three of them and their storylines was great.
It's about like their friendship and finding, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Those like pivotal friendships through childhood that really shape and form who you are as a person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know the name for it, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, just like
they make you who you are. Yeah. So good. What would you?
It really like sets the course for the rest of your life. I think there was something else that I wanted to talk about. Oh, and then so on top of the storyline, the animation in this movie was so gorgeous, and I know that it's Pixar, so obviously it's like, of course, the most like the richest like animation studio is gonna have the best animation because they like have all the resources, obviously. But there's like literally a scene that's filmed from like, not filmed, obviously. It's like above, it's like from above of the ocean, and you just see the sand and the dirt and then the water, like the wave come over it. Yeah. And that shot, I was like, are you kidding me? This looks like a freaking screensaver of like an actual video recording of a real beach. The animation is really realistic, at least for like that scenery and stuff. And it's just amazing to see how far animation like that has come, especially when you go back and look at like the first Toy Story. It is so sad how bad that animation is.
I know. I think of Bo Peep every time. Bo Peep.
I think of Andy's birthday party. I think of Andy's birthday party because there's like 10 kids and it's literally all the same kid. It's like Andy.
Yeah.
They literally only animated and they changed like the color to like be like, but it's the same model. Like
yeah. So, oh man,
movie.
we've come so far.
So Pixar has definitely come so far in the past like 25 years.
Not even that long. It feels like it's shorter than that, but that's crazy.
I feel like Toy Story came out in like 95 or
no, I think you're right.
So, but
at the very least.
Originality is like, it's not that. There's a lot of things that are just like kind of used and repeated, but I thought it was decent enough, and I would probably give it a 7.
Yeah. That's a fair...
I think I'll give it 7 flicks, because it's definitely... It wasn't missing anything, which I felt like... I don't know if Soul was Pixar or if it was just Disney. I can't remember.
I think it is
But when
Pixar.
I watched Soul, I definitely felt like there was
missing.
It was missing something. It was missing like some kind of making us like love the characters more. I feel like I didn't really love any of the characters in Soul because I didn't get to know them that well. Whereas in this one, they did a really good job of like making you feel connected with the characters.
Yes,
and getting to know who they are, so that their like conflicts were your conflicts and their achievements were your achievements, kind of. You know what I mean? You were rooting for them.
I think, not to branch off, but Soul also used like the two main components of a personality that you don't ever really want to, I don't want to say acknowledge, but you don't ever really, you also don't really see a lot of those types of people. Like, sure, you see some hard-shelled people and some very selfish people, but those two characters were really extreme. Like, he was dead set on becoming famous and playing in a blues band, but the little Soul was like, nah! Like, very drastic.
Yeah. It did, and it seemed like forced emotion in a lot of points in that movie to me. I just didn't feel like the story was as cohesive. Yeah. And as well, it's like they had like a beginning, and then it was like the middle got kind of rushed, and then they're like, get to the end really quick and just wrap it up.
Yeah.
Whereas where Luca felt like more consistent timing and pacing throughout the film, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, yeah. I think I would rate it 8 out of 10 flicks, because it was beautiful. It was stunning. I connected more with Alberto than I thought any other character I would, as well as Julia, and they were my two main favorite characters. Luca, mind you, he's a great character, but like Julia and Alberto,
it's that thing where like, even though it's Luca's story, it's his story about how these two people influenced him, basically, and how these two characters, Julia and Alberto, he was so like meek before, and then he met these two people who were so sure of themselves and knew what they wanted, and it helped him grow into that kind of person. Agreed.
Yeah, very beautiful movie. And I didn't think I was gonna like it, but I did.
Have you heard? I heard that it was based off of the movie or the book Call Me by Your Name. Have you heard of that?
No.
Where it's like, it's about like these two gay kids who like can't tell the town that they're gay. And so it's like supposedly an allegory of the same story where like Luca and Alberto have this secret that they can't tell the town, and it would like shame them.
No, I haven't. I mean, that plot sounds very familiar to me, actually, but like can't put a image to it.
Yeah, I don't know, like, I haven't seen Call Me by Your Name, so I don't know all of, like, the details, and I think Disney has said, like, no, Luca's not an allegory for being gay, but if you watch it, yeah, it is.
Just call it what it is. Good
Just call it what
Lord.
It is. There's a scene where they're, like, it's, like, sitting and, like, watching the ocean, and Alberto puts his arm around Luca, and then Luca takes a second and then puts his arm around Alberto.
Oh my, I'm gonna cry. No.
It's so sweet.
Like, just let it happen. Let it be a story and let it be told. Like, bottom line. My eyes are all red. Yeah. Good Lord. But yeah, it was great. I loved it. Good movie choice,
I liked it too. I like it probably just as much as I like most of like the Disney movies. You know, like I thought it was good as Moana. I thought it was as good as Coco. Mm-hmm. You know, just like I thought it was really good.
Yeah, agreed. But that'll conclude
our
episode.
Thanks for listening, guys. I hope you enjoyed.
Thank you, and stay tuned for another episode next week.
Yeah, don't forget to email us your suggestions. Yes. If you have ideas that you want to hear us talk about clicks or flicks, send it to clickandflickpodcast@gmail.com. Comment below if you liked what you saw.
And we'll catch y'all on the flip side.
Or comment whatever like suggestions there too. That's fine too.
Yeah, whatever works.
We'll see them. So thanks for listening, guys. Have a great week.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.